guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a little bit of a different video. I'm going to do a voiceover with a running score for Allegro's test. Okay, so let's get to it. Here we are entering in a collected canter. What I like to do is enter in a little bit of shoulder 4 because it just stops him swinging and just helps keep him straight. I do loads of collection before the halt transition, and I actually like to try and do a stride of walk before I halt, just so it looks a bit smoother, and it paid off because he got a 7 for that. Okay, so proceeding collected trot. What I have to do with Leggy, sometimes he likes to try and run off in canter, so I kind of have to move his head and his neck around just a little bit, very subtly, just so he doesn't strike off in canter. It just softens him up. Here we have the first medium trot, which we scored a 6.5 from because she said he needs a little bit more from behind. I don't always know what they mean when they say that, but I just kind of kick him and hold him. Anyway, so here we're coming into a shoulder in, making sure that the shoulder in is very much an engaging exercise, so make sure it looks engaging with my inside leg to my outside rein. And he scored a 7 for that. Here we have an 8-meter circle, which unfortunately I touched the center line, meaning it's too big, so I scored a 6. Into our first half pass, he does a really good left half pass. He's more supple to the left, so he has low bend, meaning he got a 7. Now I'm just making sure I turn my body to the left, keep my inside leg on, keep thinking inside leg, outside rein, inside leg, outside rein. I do a little bit of collection in the corner, lift my hands a little bit more so I get a bit more flick in the trot, which he does really well, and his extended trot scored a 7 because he did a nice transition down as well, if I don't say so myself. So collected trot across the top end, also a 7, and now we basically repeat the exercise on the other rein. So the shoulder ins he tends to be really good at because I can keep him really engaged. Scored a 7 for that. Once again, I do my circle and hit the centre line. Yes, I know, the hardest part of the Prix St George, apparently for me, is a circle. So scored another 6 for that. Silly marks to waste. Half pass to the right, he doesn't get as high a score this way because he's less supple, and you can see that, and she gave him a 6 and said he still needs to be more supple, which I'm working on. I get it better at home. I give him a little pat, pat, pat. I know a lot of people pat their horses in their tests, but I pat him because I'm like, good boy Leggy, and I'm like, oh my god, thank god I'm walking, because sitting trot on a 73 is bloody hard. It hurts everything. Anyway, into our first pirouette, which he did quite nicely. I actually think he should have kept the rhythm a bit better, but he still scored a 7, which is great. Pirouette to the right now. I collect him. My left leg comes back and I just tap, tap, tap him over. He scored a 7 for that as well. And then you actually get a mark for the collected walk, which he did nicely. He was on the bit, he was forward, and he scored a 7 for that as well. Here I am still appreciating that I'm walking because, yeah, life is hard. Anyway, so going into our extended walk. When I do this, I like to really move my hips and try to get him to step forward. Unfortunately, we didn't do the best extended walk. She gave him a 6 and said he could do more ground cover, which you can kind of understand because he's not like going super forward and really stepping through, but I did end up over warming him up, so I think he got a little bit tired and he just was a bit like ugh in the walk. Anyway, into the canter, did a nice transition. Again, could have been a little bit more connection, but he still got a 7, so that's great. He just wobbled a little bit, I felt. Into the Psg zigzag. So you get marked in 2 parts for this. The left half pass and the change is 1 mark, which you got a 6 for because it was a little laboured, which I agree with. And then the right half pass and a change. Now, I think it's a little laboured again, like I said, because he ended up too long in the warm-up because I was late for my test, but I gave him a pat for that anyway because he was obedient and he listened, which is very important. Okay, so now we're going into our pirouettes. I've got to collect. If I don't collect him enough, he can't do them. I personally thought he did that okay, but he got a 5 for that because she said it was too large. Canter change, got a 7, which you can see he was very obedient in that, did it really well. Now we've got our next pirouette. I was actually really happy with my first one, so I kind of rode it the same as that one. Again, I was happy with that because we've only just really learnt the pirouettes, and he got a 5 for that, and it was large. But like I say, I'm not overly fussed at the moment because he's still learning. He got a 7 for the change, which he always does super duper. Anyway, 4-time changes. There was such a shame he got a 3. So he should be changing on every 4th stride 5 times. And I'm so annoyed he got that little 3 at the start, because that brought his mark down because he had a counting mistake. Also, for some reason, he does a flying change up here. Nobody knows why. Maybe I moved my leg a little tiny bit, so I had to correct him before I come on to my next line of changes, which is 3s, 2, 3. And he does 2s to the right and 3s to the left. I don't know why. I'm just like swinging my legs around. But again, I'm not overly experienced at this level, so maybe I wasn't sitting absolutely 100%, or I was moving my legs, I don't know, slightly incorrectly. Anyway, he got 4 for that, which isn't great, but we're getting there. Extended canter, he always scores well for, because he has great ground cover being a big horse. He got a 7 for that, and that was a really nice change, so he also scored a 7 for his change, so he brought those marks up a little bit. Going back down into the centre line, I just lost my connection at this point. You can see he's wobbling around a little bit. I'm losing his quarters. I think he's just kind of thinking I want something else. He doesn't realise we're at the end of the test, so he's like, what do you want? What do you want? So he only got a 5 for that because his quarters were swinging to the right, but I was absolutely over the moon with him because he still scored 63.82%, which I was just ecstatic with, because that was been our best score. Anyway, I really hope you've enjoyed that video. I know a couple of people were asking on my Facebook page if I could do like a running commentary with the scores going up, just so you guys understand how the marks work. So if you enjoyed this one, please let me know, because I can do you more of these. It's no problem. Maybe I'll stick them into the vlogs. As always, if you like them, please like and subscribe my channel, and I will see you next time.